firstly, I would want to understand from any of you can answer, like how do we strike a balance between creativity and productivity with respect to generative AI?
First of all, thanks for all of you for coming here. We saw a full room today in spite of all the rains, and it's so energetic to see a full house after lunch as well. We were just wondering that we are just after lunch, so what's going to happen? So, Liju, I think creativity and productivity coexist in an era of Gen AI. I think creativity kind of enhances productivity and vice versa. Why I'm saying this is when we want to become creative using Gen AI tools, it gives us an opportunity to explore, ideate, and save time for creators. And this enhances their productivity to the level that they can kind of create their workflows, minimalize the cost, save cost, and make this maximum utilization for their businesses. I think they kind of coexist. It's not either or is my point.
But do you think, one is more of the focus than the other, like creativity over productivity or vice versa?
It can never be one over another. I think if they don't coexist, it's like parallel streams which come to, and converge in the end to give you the end result. It cannot be one or the other because it has to balance itself.
So I'll just add to it. There are a lot of non-creative tasks associated with a creative task, right? Even if, if you want to create a piece of art, there are a lot of other things which you have to do first, and then you get into that creative process. Now, what we do, and I believe that it's sort of a pyramid. At the bottom of the pyramid are all mundane, repetitive tasks. At the epitome of that pyramid is a very creative, highly creative task, right? We can't jump from bottom to the top in one go. And I'm talking about an organization or an individual, right? You have to go one by one. So as an organization, first you need to deploy AI in solving all those repetitive tasks and get the efficiency, and then move on to the next level, right? For example, if you are creating a film, right, you would not want AI to, edit that film at the first go, right? You would want you want the framework to be done. If you have written a script, you want to just, ask the AI to just proofread it once, whether all the things are in place. So all the things which are being done by a number of people, that can be done by a single guy now. So I believe it's currently it's a time of more of a co-pilot than just giving everything to the AI. AI should be used by humans to improve productivity, while the onus of creativity at this moment should lie with humans only.
Lijo, do you want to add, or Nikhil?
Yeah, sure. I'll add to that. So if you look at the evolution of technology, I think over time, productivity has been an easier problem to solve. You get the gains, the low-hanging fruit is easier to get on the productivity side. Whether you look at digitization, whether you look at automation, all of these things have happened in the past. What AI has done is it's brought creativity into the purview of technology. So now if you look at all these Gen AI tools and other tools which are out there, they are actually helping you expand the scope and get creativity in there. But like it was mentioned, I think the easier problem to handle will be productivity. Creativity will take some getting to, but I don't think there is an either or, that we choose between the two or one gets primary focus over the other in the AI world. So I think that's where we are right now. I think there's still a journey to cover before we get to where we can see the impact from both equally.
Yeah, that's fair.
We are not looking at AI as an efficiency tool with focus only on productivity. We are looking at it as a tool for creativity. So we are in the difficult problem of creating jobs for people. So in next 10 years, India would require 50 million jobs, out of which only 20 million will be created if we go at this growth rate. So what we do is that we work with government institutions, we work with most of the leading educational institutions, and we try to ensure that there are a lot of entrepreneurs who are starting their enterprises in India. So we look at AI as a co-intelligent partner. What I mean by that is that we launched our first AI copilots way back in 2023 for our skilling, department. Now we work with entrepreneurs to ensure that they are able to think better. When I say think better, when we do insights with entrepreneurs who have made it big or who could not succeed, a lot of them tell us that I have climbed the wrong mountain. So we ask, what do you mean when you say you have climbed the wrong mountain? They say that I have made as much effort or spent as much resources as so many of the people out there who have made it big. But I chose a wrong problem to solve. If I had chosen the right problem, then I would have created much more impact. So we are actually looking at AI as a tool which will help to ensure that they are climbing the right mountain. So if somebody is coming and telling the mentor currently, which is a human mentor, that I want to start a bakery, then the AI, if it is an AI mentor, it asks, why are you thinking only about a bakery? Why are you not thinking about a chain of bakeries? Just to give an example. But there are people who comes to us and say, I want to start a space tourism business. So we use AI, we use multiple LLMs to ensure that we are able to guide them the right way. From the idea generation till the time we are able to create a viable business which create jobs for a lot of people out there.
Great. So one more thing I wanted to understand is like a lot of companies, they claim that they are deploying generative AI into their workforces. So what are your thoughts on like how are they integrating AI into their systems, and are they also equally equipping their employees to use these systems? What are the kind of training and skilling that is happening there? Is there anything that you can add, any of you?
We have seen multiple entrepreneurs who are deploying AI. We have tried deploying it ourselves as well. So it depends upon the vision of the organization, where they are looking at AI as only an efficiency tool or as a tool which will help them to improve the productivity. If they are looking at it only as an efficiency tool for cost cutting, then it's a very narrow use case, I would say. But if they are looking at AI as something which will ensure that they can grow 10x, then there is a lot of power in that thought process. So centralized systems which focuses only on productivity gains by optimizing the cost is a very short use case of AI. Typically in those kinds of organization, AI is seen as an IT department tool, while it is not. AI is a tool for all the departments out there, all the divisions out there. The issue is that a lot of people does not know how to use AI. When I say how to use AI, even for using ChatGPT, it's really naive prompts that a lot of people give out, and they feel very happy about the response. But if you know the prompting techniques like chain of thought, anything like that, if you are able to equip your employees and enable them in the right way, then you will be able to extract maximum value out of AI by using each employee as an enabler. That's what we have seen happening in a lot of the companies out there.
I think what companies have to do is think of AI as a digital transformation tool, right? It cannot just be in the, like Liju mentioned, it cannot be one department's problem. It has to come through as a DNA of the organization that they kind of embracing AI. And it should start from knowledge workers. They have to be skilled enough to show them the value of using AI and how productivity can be built. And there are multiple tools which kind of enhances knowledge workers' productivity, right? And also the other departments on what are the skill sets that is required. I think we need more number of educators and more number of courses are available. I'm not talking about courses. I'm talking about more practical knowledge into use of AI. I think somewhere organizations have to be more brave for this change, and they kind of embrace it in their whole strategy planning to kind of implement this.
So just want to add one thing. The biggest challenge in implementing AI in any organization, there is a fear associated with the word AI, right? Common people, they think that AI will take jobs. It may or may not be true, right? It may be true in a few cases where the job is so repetitive there is no added value which a human, there's no value which a human is adding in that task. He's just doing it. Those jobs might be at risk, but it's a very generic fear, and it's there in the technology team, it's there in the marketing team, it's there in the ops team, it's everywhere, right? So the first thing which we need to do is try to educate more, like she said, and convey that it is more of an efficiency tool, like he said. So it's not for the cost cutting, it's for getting more efficiency. So from the current negative connotation, we have to create a little positivity around it. Second thing is, it's a change management thing. It's not a technical challenge. The bigger challenge is the change management. People, when we ask people to use it, the first point is that if I'll start using it somewhere down the line, I might not have a job, because the AI will start doing my job, then what will I do? So that mindset is the biggest roadblock. Now, in our organization, we have started using AI across. So we are a digital first company, and we have been using AI for last many years. The difference between AI and, there's a little difference between AI and generative AI, right? Generative AI is something which can create content. That content is in the form of text, is in the form of images, video, or synthetic data, right? In any form of content, if an AI can create, it's a generative AI, right? And there are use cases across which can tremendously increase the efficiency of an organization. I'll just give you an example. Till about 3 years back, we had a 120 strong technology team, right? We started working with Microsoft, started building a co-pilot for software developers. Since then, our number has come down now, while the efficiency is more, because people, while they used to code using the GitHub and all these directories earlier, now AI can do a lot of that task instantly. Earlier, they used to spend hours in finding a code, then doing the testing and everything. Now that can be done in an automated fashion. Similarly, for content, while AI can write the entire article, but there is a problem with that. So first problem is that search engines now have started identifying the difference between a human generated content and an AI generated content, and Google especially has started penalizing that, right? So a lot of companies, they just put a topic, take an article and publish a web page, but that's not the right way of doing it. Right way of doing is creating a co-pilot for all these content people. So can just give AI the task of suggesting structures of an article, what issue, topics can be included, what are the relevant topics which are there, and then write a holistic piece of content, right? So these sort of things which we are doing. Another, which is a little bigger project for us, we are dependent on call centers, because we are in the business of selling financial products, and unfortunately, as of now, it is very difficult to sell financial products without a human intervention, right? You need a call center guy to call and explain these products to consumers. Now, the biggest use case for us when it comes to generative AI is if we can create an agent co-pilot, who can start the conversation with the consumers, take it to a certain level, and then hand it over to the agent. It'll, of course, it'll reduce our cost, but it'll improve our efficiency drastically, and it'll reduce the wait time for a consumer. Right, so these are the things how we are doing it, and the challenges are not the technological one, but the more of a psychological or related to the fear.
Yeah, I think just circling back to your original question around how the workforce needs to be upskilled in this. So I think fair point that AI, we need to think of it more as an enabler than a disruption. While there will be disruption, what is very clear is that what it will start looking at is the repetitive, the mundane tasks which essentially a human should not be doing in the first place, right? So then what does that mean for your workforce? It doesn't mean that you will lose jobs. It means that you need to upskill to a level which AI cannot perform today. And that is the part where you need to ensure that all your departments, all your teams, all your functions are actually looking at how will AI enable their function? How will it enable their outcomes? Because it won't magically happen by itself. And it's not like it's going to come out of the air and it's going to happen by itself. Someone needs to deploy it. Someone needs to enable it. And for the ones who are using it, how do they upscale? How do they actually become the ones who are running the technology instead of the ones who are using the technology? So I think that's the part which we all need to make sure that our workforce is aware of. They're not caught by surprise, because whatever is coming, it's coming, and it's happened through the course of technology. It's not something new. It's just the nature of technology has changed, but the evolution has been happening for years now.
Lija, you would like to add something?
I already answered it.
Okay. So when it comes to AI, AI is simply not automating everything that comes across. It is also unlocking a lot of potentials when it comes to creativity and productivity. But at the same time, there are ethical considerations also. So one by one, if you can say how our Indian organizations are adopting and working around these considerations.
I can go first. So, see, I think ethics is a very, very, very critical part of this, because it's that nature of the technology which we've not seen in the past. Now, how does an organization actually look into it? So, one, there needs to be a very clear articulation of the policy which you have for AI utilization. Every organization, I think, most organizations today are already working on it, if not already put it into place. But there needs to be a very clear policy and articulation so that every individual who is using AI. See, today you could be having a conference call with your colleagues, and you could be running an AI bot on that, which actually summarizes all of your discussions and just sends an email out, right? That's a very, very, very simple use case of AI. Now, how does every employee of the organization know where to use AI, where not to use AI, and how to use AI? Because the tools are all over the place. They are everywhere, right? It's not just the chat GPTs of the world. It's coming into every single piece of digital product which is out there. So one, I think, is the policy part of it. The second, which is very important, is the data part of it, the deployment part of it, because AI is only as good as the data which goes into it. So on the data side, it's very critical that one, access controls in terms of what data goes where. Generative AI requires us to put in a lot of data into the LLM models which are out there. All these LLM models, they are nothing if they cannot train them without the data. So particularly on the Gen AI side, what kind of data do you start pushing to the models, whether they are your in-house models, whether they are on-prem models, or they are the models which are available out there. Access of data, the security of data, and the governance of the data which goes into all of the AI applications across the board, I think that is super critical. So I think those two things, very important, policy side and on the deployment side around data access controls and governance.
I just want to add here, the core of your ethics is transparency. Right, and it is the same. Is the case? The case is same with using generative AI as well. You need to be very transparent with your consumers, be it your external consumers or your internal consumers, like teams who are working on these tools. Have a right ethical code of conduct, and make sure that that code of conduct is followed by each and everyone in the organization. And that cannot be only done by relying entirely on generative AI. There has to be a human intervention. There should be regular audits. There should be adequate declarations at different places. Wherever a declaration is needed, be respectful of your customer's preference and the data which they're sharing with you. It has to be secure, like he said. The other things, other very important thing is, which Nikhil also mentioned, when you are training an AI model, the data which you are using, right, it's very common for that data to have some biases, depending on the source of that data and the age of that data. There can be, a few biases. The most common bias is the gender bias, right? And you would not want your AI to be trained on that data. And you can only rectify it when you are auditing it at a regular intervals and catch it when it's happening. And you can correct it in the right manner. So this is very important when you're basically training a AI model.
I think there are three things that we follow in Adobe. It's a structure that we follow. It's called ART, right? Accountability, responsibility, and transparency, like Sachin mentioned. Accountability for the generations that we do, for the customers. We have to be accountable as an organization to give the customers the right kind of data that they can use for commercial use. Responsibility is taking responsibility for the content that's being produced, right? What is the source of the content? Are we crediting the actual creators? Is that being, are we giving them credits to that, right? And of course, Sachin mentioned about transparency, saying that this is what this AI can do, but, there is these terms and conditions under everything. All of them say, hey, if your model is so good, why are you putting it in? But actually, that is called transparency. You're maintaining that transparency across. What we did a few years ago was a content authenticity initiative that we started, right? Where we've got multiple open source tools coming together to, identify the source of the content and to authenticate it, right? When that happens, people know where the actual source was. When it gets modified to multiple other different variations, you can at least identify with the source. And security is the major threat that is, deterring AI transformations in many companies. And I think if these are addressed at scale, and we give the confidence to our customers and our consumers saying that, hey, these ethical issues are being taken care of, we have an indemnification for you, so that they can they can produce their content very quickly and they can go into the market very soon. So I think that's the format that we kind of follow at Adobe.
Yeah, for us, our AI tools are being used by entrepreneurs. So we ensure that we are transparent to them whenever they are sharing any kind of information with us. And whenever there is a source, as Jenny was saying, we ensure that we are transparent to them. So we have got guardrails built in, both for our consumers as well as our internal employees, to ensure that AI is used in a good way, so that there is good accountability on the from the employees, as well as we are transparent to our customers.
So there are like adequate guardrails in
Yes,
place to
yes.
keep a check.
Yeah.
Okay. So quickly, I'll ask Lijo, can you just tell us something about Wadhwani Group and the kind of work that it does? Because there's some social element also involved there. It
Correct.
also functions like an incubator for upcoming entrepreneurs. How is generative AI playing a role there?
Yeah, so it's not Wadhwani Group, it's Wadhwani Foundation. So our founder is Romesh Wadhwani, who is based in Silicon Valley, and we are not a traditional non-profit. We are a non-profit which is embracing tech, and we have got our own engineering team, product team, and we work like a new age startup. So Romesh has built 42 companies. He has exited from 38, and his vision is to ensure that we are creating jobs with family sustaining wages all across the world. So we operate in 20 countries. We started with India. Currently, we operate in Brazil, Mexico, Philippines, multiple countries in Africa. So from India, we are trying to create AI tools and platforms which will ensure that entrepreneurs all across these countries are successful. And we are not an incubator, by the way. We are a non-profit. We don't take any stake. We work with entrepreneurs. Our courses are approved by UGC, and we design entrepreneurship courses with all the leading institutions in India, the top 200 institutions in an ARF rankings. So we have been in existence for 15 years, and some of the well-known startups like Practo, etc., came through us. So we work with students when they are in the final year of engineering. We work with business schools when they are in the second year to ensure that not everybody become a job seeker. A lot of them become job creator. So we are very excited about AI because what was limiting our growth was the availability of people in terms of trained faculty or mentors who will be able to kindle a spirit of entrepreneurship in the minds of people. So if you look at tier 2 or tier 3 or even tier 4 cities in India, the ambitions are still the same. You know, everybody has the same aspirations, but they lack awareness and they don't have the resources. So we want to solve it for them. And the traditional VCs focus only on the top, you know, maybe like 100, 500 or 1,000 startups. Who is actually serving the startups below that? That is where we come in. We work with all the state governments in India. We work with most of the incubators in India. We work very closely with the central government to ensure that there would be more jobs in India, you know, sometime down the line. And that will come through entrepreneurs. There'll be like hundreds of entrepreneurs who will create hundreds of jobs. That's the way we will be able to address, you know, the job issues in this country and unemployment in this country.
Great. Nikhil, can you give us a walkthrough of 1MG and its use of generative AI? Because there's a lot of data also involved in between.
Yeah, so at 1MG, we are India's largest digital healthcare platform, and we provide, while we provide pharma and diagnostic services, we are also large in terms of content library which we have. So AI has massive implications in the healthcare domain particularly, because it can enable patients to be in control of their health outcomes. Particularly, if you look at 2 or 3 areas within healthcare, there is drug discovery and genomics. It's a big area where it takes years for drugs to be, for the research to happen, for molecules to be identified and all of that. So that is being, there's a phenomenal change in terms of the speed of getting to that. There is the whole clinical trial space, which is ripe for AI disruption. There is the whole radiology space. Just AI can help you read your radiology reports so much more accurately if done right. And also on the commerce side and in areas particularly with 1MG, what we are also trying to work on is places like digitization of health records. In India, particularly, it's a big problem because health records are, there's no single repository of health records for a patient. You have, you'll have a file full of prescriptions or diagnostic test reports with pieces of paper lying around. But can you digitize, can you put all of that together and also use that to basically do risk assessment for a patient who is very early in that journey? Can AI help figure out that there is some intervention which is required to make sure that the disease does not progress? And particularly in areas like cancer and other, there's a lot of implications over there. So I think it's still day one, still very early days in terms of what AI can do in healthcare. But we are starting to see at 1MG particularly, one is the commerce side of things where we are working on content generation. We are working with understanding consumer personas, making our supply chains more efficient. But on the clinical side also, there is a lot of work going on around digitization of medical records, around health insights, for example, based on all those, all the information which you get. Can you also share some insights with the users on their healthcare and how healthy or how fit they are? So multiple use cases, I think still very early in terms of what we can deliver over there.
Great. Sachin, I would want to understand, like, you know, when it comes to financial services, we all know that trust is paramount. So how does Paisa Bazaar, with its use of AI or generative AI, you know, enable that kind of trust and transparency in its customer, maybe through their marketing messaging?
Yeah, right. So, you know, we are in an industry where the most crucial thing in a company's success is trust. If people trust you, because there's a transaction happening and with real money, right? And as far as the use of AI is concerned, I mentioned that we are using it across technology, marketing, and operations team. And wherever it is exposed to the consumers, we give a declaration that this part of content is generated using the AI, or this is this specific thing is done by using the AI. So we mention it very clearly on our app, on our site, in all our communications. Now, where do we use it and how we are trying to use it to enhance consumer trust is that in we use it to generate multiple versions of the communication which we do with the consumers across different languages, because it's difficult to manually translate each and every message in different languages, and there are 4, 5, 6 prominent languages in India. While there are a lot more, but Hindi, English, Tamil, Telugu, Kannada, Marathi, Bengali. So it's not humanly possible to translate each and every message humanly. So we rely on AI doing that. But while we are doing it, we mention that this translation was done using an AI. So it may or may not be correct. Similarly, we use it for our media planning also, whether it's digital or TV. We are one of those few organizations who measure TV also, like we measure digital. We have some internally built models. We use it there also. All the ad serving in media planning, we do it through the help of AI. Now that call center use case which I mentioned, we are working with Microsoft on that. It is not solved yet entirely, but hopefully we'll solve it soon. We have just started a pilot. Let's see if it's successful, we'll scale it up. Another piece where AI is helping us is the data analytics and risk. We are an aggregator of lending products, right? We work with more than 80 partners across the country, which includes large banks and fintechs and NBFCs and all. While we do not take any risk, but we want to minimize risk for our partners, because we work with them at a very deeper level, and to understand that risk and to find segments which can be negative for our partners, we use AI in analyzing those risks and weeding out those segments which may not work for our partners. Similarly, for acquisition also, we use AI in our propensity modeling to reach out people right at time when they might be needing a loan, because loan is a product which is not very frequent, like medicines, or you may need medicines once every week or once every month, but loan is a product where if it's a personal loan, you'll need it once in 2-3 years. If it's a home loan, you may never need another home loan in your entire life, right? So the timing of the communication is very critical here, and just to set you the perspective, 35-40% of our revenue at our scale comes from our cross-sell campaigns. So our model, I would say, is it's not the best, but it's quite accurate, right? So we use AI there also. But as far as trust is concerned, whatever we do within the guidelines of consumer preference and consumer privacy.
Yeah. So we are actually short of time. I just need to ask one last question to Janani. So answer it as briefly as possible. So see, at this point of time, India has a bustling creator economy. How is Adobe's creative tools or suite helping it, empower it further?
Sure, I'll make it as quick as possible. So we know there's a content overload. We've seen so many YouTube channels, everything coming up, right? At Adobe, we believe in raising the ceiling for creators and lowering the floor for knowledge workers. With Adobe Firefly, with AI Assistant, which is the latest tool from of Acrobat, I think it's easier to create these content at scale, on brand, and quickly to reach into the market. What Express does for content creators is create these campaigns at a click of a button. And for India specifically, I think we need a lot of localization of the content, right? So Firefly is available in like 100 languages with 8 languages in India. You can give a prompt, anybody can use the prompt across to create this. And for just duplicating the campaign into multiple languages, it is a very simple process. I think creating the bulk of the content at scale and still having your brand values and brand proposition at the base is what Adobe is doing for businesses in India.
Great. Also, one more thing, all of you will have to answer, and as brief as possible, maybe one small sentence. Like, if AI could automate one thing in your daily task, what it could be, starting from Lijo?
I wouldn't, I wouldn't want AI to automate anything. Maybe it should help me to think better. By using AI as a partner rather than as an automation tool, which is like a, surveillance mode.
Okay, fair. Nikhil.
I think planning and prioritizing is a big challenge. So if AI can help do that, even calendar management is a big enough problem. So
Sachin, yes.
I would say if AI could read all my mails and give me a summary.
I was also going to say the same thing. Emails, if it can reply back to all my emails and give a resolution to things, I think that would save a lot of time.
While Google is doing a decent task in, segregating these emails in promotional or social and primary, but we still need a tool which can, read all the emails and give me the
action.
points, in summary, that these are important, these are you can discard easily.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you for all the wonderful responses.